Hello there, men, and welcome to the Masculinism Movement channel, a place for men to be men and to talk about masculinity and men's issues. I'm your host, Brian Krall, and today we are continuing our deep dive into the sacred masculine archetype in this part 7, the second to last video, which is on the king of the jungle, the lion. The symbol of the king of the jungle, as represented by the alpha male lion and his full mane, is known around the world by all. It always has been and always will be, ever since the dawn of man, for some reason. This is the symbol. This is the king of the jungle. All right. And this symbol is about as masculine of a symbol as it gets. So it, to me, represents the sacred masculine in a specific set of ways. Firstly, it's a male lion with his big, beautiful mane, not a lioness that is depicted. And the symbol is masculine and not feminine. It is the king of the jungle, not the queen of the jungle, for a very good set of reasons. Because it is rooted in the objective reality of nature. Nature is a finely calibrated system that cannot be faked with political propaganda and feminist rhetoric. All right. Lions, like many animals, live in a patriarchal system. So let this symbol of masculinity be a reminder to you that not only do all human cultures exist in a patriarchal system, but almost all animal cultures do as well. The alpha male lion specifically is also a symbol of the apex predator, right? Since that is what it means to be the king of the jungle, of course. The alpha male lion is at the top of the dominance hierarchy in his specific environment. And theoretically, at least, he would remain at the top of the dominance hierarchy if he were in another environment, at least. That's what we like to think by. That's why we call him the king of the jungle, all right? Even though lions don't live in all jungles, we would assume that if they were transplanted to another jungle, they would be the apex predator there as well. All right. So the lion, being the king of the jungle and all, it's a symbol of status, of power, of prestige. That's why there's these fraternities that use the lion's head as a symbol in their emblem. There are old mansions, where certain lineages in their mansions that they would build in their estates, they would place lion statues on them. So it's a symbol of status and power and prestige, but when we look at it from a spiritual lens, such as how I do as I'm a spiritual person, it's a symbol of nature and everything that it means to us to be here on earth and a part of this nature, right, where we all come from. And it's also, to me, a symbol of the power of nature, the power of the animal kingdom and animalism, right? A power that is primal, physical, dangerous, right? This isn't something, that we need to just talk about in metaphors, right? It's not just spiritual or philosophical or political when we talk about these archetypes, right? This is very literal. The lion represents our literal basic animal nature and tendency towards fighting for success, right? And this need, this primal desire that men have to get to the top of the food chain, and those driving instincts and motivating factors that come from our animal brain. And when we look at the lion specifically as a species, it being the king of the jungle also symbolizes that you don't have to be the biggest, strongest, fastest, or most endurant to get there, because the lion is none of those things, and yet he is still thought of as the king of the jungle, and not, for instance, the bear, who is bigger, stronger, faster, and more endurant. And if we were to actually have an accurate theoretical discussion about if the lion is in fact the king of all jungles, and we were to actually include all jungles as well as forests that sort of were like, ecosystems similar enough to a jungle that we could include them, and we were including some things like certain types of bears, and other cats even. There are tigers, for instance, that are bigger, stronger, potentially faster and more endurant, I don't know. But then there's other cats that are, of course, faster and have more endurance. And if we were to transplant the lion to any of these habitats, he potentially wouldn't be the apex predator. Probably just like, someone who competes with the alphas and the apex predator. The point is that somehow the lion got this title, not through being the biggest, strongest, fastest, most endurant, or, necessarily the best at any one skill, right? The lion is not any of those things, and yet he has become thought of as the king of the jungle for some reason. And so, what we can look at is that it is his pure aggressiveness and probably, experience, probably just, trial and error, learning, developing instincts and wisdom and such. But a lot of aggressiveness. And also, one thing that big cats like this have is explosivity. Let's circle back to that. But first, I want to talk about something else. If you're enjoying listening to what I have to say, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you feel I'm adding value to your life, you can also tip me at the PayPal link below in proportion to the amount of value added. Your support will help me be able to continue this work because the oppressive fascists at YouTube are against this kind of content and actively trying to suppress it. So it is only with the help of viewers like you that I'll be able to keep fighting the good fight against the evil fucking matriarchy. What the lion is, of course, known for is his roar, which I feel like I could even go as far as to call an audio representation of the symbol of the king of the jungle. Like everyone recognizes the lion's roar because what is it? MGM used it in the beginning of their movies in their logo. So we all have heard it so many times from that and anywhere else in the media. Going to the zoo, every zoo has a lion because everyone wants to see the king of the jungle, of course. Which is interesting. They would be able to be captured and put in a zoo if he's the king of the jungle. Wouldn't that make him above us? But anyways, we won't go into those theoretical debates. But the point is that the lion has this audio symbol, the roar, right? It's universally recognizable. It can be heard for miles, and everyone in the animal kingdom knows to fear it and walk the other way when they hear it. However, it's interesting that, when you hear a lion roar, you have to think to yourself, the lion you just heard roar may actually be the animal version of a couch potato, right? May have been just laying down and leaned up and roared to sort of assert his dominance before, clonking back down. He was probably laying down then as he was earlier and will continue to be for the rest of the day. The alpha male lions spend most of their time laying around, and they get their harem of lionesses to do all of their hunting for them so that they can just rest and relax, and save their energy for the right moment. Their strength is in being able to have great explosions of power. Like, to again put this in human terms, think of like a power lifter who doesn't have to necessarily even be fit, right? There's a lot of big fat power lifters out there. There's a lot of skinny power lifters out there, but they're able to have these momentary bursts of explosive power. All right, so that's the way the lion is. Their strength is in being able to have great explosions of power. So they spend most of their time meditating, trying to amass their energies for a time when they're most needed, at which point they'll be able to start exploding at their enemy for a short period. They don't have any endurance, though. But the lion is obviously a symbol of physical power and strength, as well as any sort of metaphorical power and strength. You want to attach any metaphors to it, you can as well. If you want to make it into a political empowerment or a psychological or a spiritual empowerment symbol, you could do that, right? Because as an archetype, it's able to be customized. It's malleable because of their universal and abstract nature. I think that most of all, it's a symbol of the animal within all of us. That primal animalism and those animalistic instincts that we all share deep inside of us, even if we like to think of ourselves as very sophisticated, right? And these animal instincts include our basic sexual nature as well. So I think that this symbol reminds us that deep within our subconscious, we're really just savages looking, to fuck and to feed. And this is also a symbol of sexual prowess and virility because, of course, the lion king always takes a harem of lionesses to mate with. And the symbol of the lion with its mane is a depiction of masculine beauty and just these evolutionary cues that, the male body gives to female mates to signal fertility. So it's obviously a very meaningful, fundamental, sacred masculine archetype. It's one of the reasons why big cats are my favorite animal, sort of like, kind of like my spirit animal. Not necessarily lions specifically, if I were to get more specific, but that's not what this video is about. However, I will say, in conclusion, that while I do love lions, my actual favorite big cats would have to be like the jaguar or the panther, like, a black cat. There are so many more cat species out there than anyone really even knows about, though. Like, if you were to actually look into it, there's like very specific types of different species of jaguar for different regions. Like the Middle East has a specific jaguar that lives, like, in its rocky, in desert areas, and then there's jaguars that live in the jungle of, like, the Amazon down in South America. So that's why I said just for the sake of doing justice to a topic, that the lion wouldn't necessarily be able to beat other species of big cats if he were transplanted. Specifically tigers, though, which live in the Bengal region, though. So, that's the thing, is that the territories don't mix.
That concludes this video. Thanks for listening. I hope I mansplained that good enough for you. If you like what you heard, please click the like button. And if you feel you gained some value from this video and would like to give some back, please do so with the PayPal link below, because your support helps fund me doing this work and fight the good fight for men like you. If you are ready to take the red pill and wake up from the matrix, well then, I have the perfect book for you. The Bible of Esoteric Knowledge is a super concise, dense, info-packed philosophy textbook, written in the same verse format as the Bible, but combining multiple different, highly esoteric philosophies such as Taoism, Hinduism, Buddhism, shamanism, ancient paganism, and a special balance between theoretical physics and metaphysics, along with some special bonus info on the cryptic secrets of sexuality and death. This book will stimulate your intellectual philosopher's mind like no other, especially since it's a lot shorter and easier to read than most philosophy books made up entirely of run-on sentences and never-ending paragraphs, and, can be quite boring and exhaustive. Full of all the most fascinating mystical secrets of the universe, gratify your inner geek and quench your thirst for meaning with the Bible of Esoteric Knowledge. Get your copy at the link below for a special sale price today.